All right, welcome back. We are game 1116. That's game programming 3 in the fall 2025 semester at Georgian, and it's week 10, part 1 of our broadcast and recording. And we got a lot to cover, as always, today, but may not be as big of a lesson. There might be some other things we do. We're sitting at week 10. We're still doing the third-person game project, which will be something we're going to be doing in a few short weeks. When we kind of do our final test. Our final test will be based on this project, just like the midterm test was based on the first-person perspective game. And we'll be building on the stuff that we're doing here, right? So a couple things to note. Last week we did a couple things with, kind of attack montages and that kind of stuff. And I asked you guys to convert your equip function into equip item. Let's do it together. So that I know some people didn't have a chance to do that in class exercise 8 properly, and I think it's probably a good practice to think about doing it together. And there's some hints in our last PowerPoint about how to do it. So I've got in class exercise 9 here. I'll do it there. So we have everything together, but let's bring up our last PowerPoint. Actually, let's grab it from my repo 1 second. That's what happens when you're remote. Last week, I swear to God, that I will not miss the garbage thing when I'm home. Okay, I won't miss it. I'll be right back. Like it's every time. Sorry. Every time. It never fails. It's like a pattern. It's got to be exactly when I'm starting off, right? So it's like really bizarre. So last week, the in-class exercise at the bottom said this. This is the part that people either didn't do or didn't know how to do, didn't want to do, whatever, right? So let's talk about this. I want to do this first. So what I said was, hey, for you to do, let's convert the equip function in the base weapon blueprint, into equip item. So let's do that together. So I'll wait till you guys pull up. Are you guys ready to go? Because I'm going to do this now. So the way to do that, of course, is here. We are in Visual Studio. And I've just made in-class exercise 9 out of in-class exercise 8. So I just use in-class exercise 8 as a base, my last version. And again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and go into the proper files, which is we want to do it on base weapon, which is item. That's the item class, right? So item.h and item.cpp is what we need to pull up. There's item.h. Use item.cpp. I like to put them like this, and I don't want to see this. I'm just going to kind of kill this right now to see where we're at with it. And then we also should take a look at base weapon. So I'm going to go into blueprints, going to go into items, weapons, base weapon. Notice it will kind of come up over here. That's not cool. What I want, of course, is to fix this by going to editor preferences like normal, because I took away, I'm starting fresh, so main window. There we go. And then I can pull that in. There we go. So now this is the function we want to convert, my friends. This one here. It's equip, and it uses character instigator, right? So how do we do this? How do we convert our function, from equip to equip item, right? So before we do everything, I'm not going to close this down, okay? I'm going to close it down before I push back into, Unreal Engine, because I want to use this as a guide, okay? So again, what we want to do is follow this as well. So the first thing is we need to make a function name that's here available to us. Now, question for you guys starting off. Does it matter if we're going to do it in protected or public? Where would I do this function? Doesn't matter. What the heck is protected versus public anyway? Does anyone remember? Yes?
It can be accessed outside the class.
Public can be accessed outside the class. What about protected though?
It can only be read
3 access modifiers, okay? Just as a review. Public, protected, private. Public means that anything can use this property or function as long as they reference the class. So if I say something like, item dot, default scene root, I can access it if it's public, if it's in the public space, right? If it's protected, only subclasses can read it and write to it. Okay? Read, write is available for subclasses as well, right? But other classes can't read or write from it. It's like private. So protected is a hybrid. I hate to say it, right? And typically when I program, I try and use protected as least as possible because it's a weird thing. It's like it's kind of protected, but it's kind of give you some privacy, but not. And it kind of almost breaks OOP sometimes for me, right? However, Unreal Engine uses it everywhere. So that's what protected means. Private means it can only be read by, by the class itself. Not even subclasses can read it. So like derived classes or child classes, they can't even access it. It's inaccessible, right, for that kind of stuff. So that's why we wouldn't put it there. We definitely would either put it under protected or public. And it's because we want to make it so it's a subclass, BP underscore base weapon is a subclass of item, then you might as well put it here. So the first thing is we declare it. And I would do it like this. So again, it's U function because we're going to use it. And we're going to do a blueprint callable. We can actually put it in as a category if we want to, like it's an interaction category, which is what it is, right? So I can say something like category equals to interaction. That's how it's going to appear when you download it or whatever. And then inside here, we want to make it so it's void, and I want to call this, equip item. Now it has to take a character instigator. That's what we said, right? So that's the type, but it's going to be of type a main character. That's what the type is going to be. So it's going to be of type a main character pointer. So a main character pointer, character instigator. I don't need the override. That doesn't make any sense. Okay? Like so. So that is what it's going to be. Now, a main character, does it exist in here? It does. We've already forward declared it, so we're good there. All right? Otherwise, you would have to forward declare it. Okay? So we're already using it here as well. So this is the first part, equip item, and the first part is the .h, right? So this is very similar to what we have here, equip character instigator of type, and if you look over here, main character, object reference, same thing, all right? And that's what we're mirroring here. So again, I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go to my little screwdriver and click create definition, which is the next part. You make a definition of it. What we want to check to see is we want to confirm that main character is valid. That's what we're doing here when we're actually casting. We want to make sure that it's a main character that's valid. So we're going to just do that here. We can say something like this. It's a little different. We can say if character instigator, look, it's trying to write it for me, right, is not equal to null pointer. That's what I recommend you do, then you want to do something, okay? That's the first thing. So you want to say character instigator is not equal to null pointer. You want to test to see that this is. So now we're into this part. We're saying check if main character is not null pointer. Yay, we just did that, right? Next, if it's true, then let's set the item state variable to equipped, okay? So back to this. So we're going to say item state, right, is equal to item state equipped. It's like that easy, dudes, right? Next, we can actually follow this guide too if we want to. Look over here. So item state is equal to equipped. Next part is we want to set the equipped weapon of the character to this. So that would be character instigator. Equipped weapon is this. That's the next one we would do, right? Because we're just following the pattern, right? The reason why we're using this is because it's a reference to the item itself. So we're saying the equipped weapon is this item, the item that I'm in, because I'm in item.cpp, right? And that is kind of what we're doing here, isn't it? We're saying Equip weapon is self. Self is this in blueprints. It's the same thing, right? Then it's going to be character instigator is action state is unoccupied. So character instigator, and then we'll say action state. And now we can't access action state. So what do? Well, let's take a look what the problem is. So if we look at main character, take a look, guys, with me. Here's main character, right? And if I scroll down, action state, I bet you, is down here. Take a look. It's in the private category, private section. Remember I said private means no access. So I need to move this. And it has to be in public because main character and item have no relationship with each other, right? So this must be in public. So I need to take these two states here in main character and cut them out. And I got to move this all up here into public, up here. There it is. Now I don't need to do this meta. These meta tags right here, these specifiers, specify that even if it's private, you can allow private access, right? We can't have this here because there's nothing to do. This is only to do with if I want to make it edit anywhere in Blueprint read write, right? So we're going to kind of take these away right now. So we're modifying our main character, but we need to. We have no choice. Save. Once we've done that, now action state should be available here. So if I say action state, you can see that that's available is equal to E action state, and then it's unoccupied, right? Which is what we want. Okay? By the way, E action state unoccupied, do we have access to the action state here? Because look, we have item state, but we don't have action state here, right? And do we have it in here? Because we don't have it, it's a good idea to include it, even though, but we are including main character.h. So here's a beautiful thing. Because we're including main character.h, and main character.h, if I go there, has action state and character state. If we include main character.h, we also get those two, right? So we don't have to do that. So that's why we're okay if we do something like this, because it understands what this is. Okay, so that's this part. Then I'm going to go back to the, without looking at it. So we've done up to here. We need to do this one. Character instigator, character state is one-handed weapon. Okay, so let's do that next. So character state, and then character state is equal to equipped one-handed weapon. So far, so good. You guys getting this? It's pretty straightforward. Next, we want to do this part, which is set the collision response to all channel for the item mesh. Okay, item mesh belongs to the item, right? So we're going to say something like item mesh, right? And we want to set collision kind of response to all channels. Look at that. To all channels. And it looks like ignore, right? Now, if you didn't know what that was, you know that if you hover over all channels, it tells you that it's looking for a collision, collision response type right there, right? So collision response type has a bunch, this is just an enum, look. So basically you can use this. You can say, these are the different kind of types there are. And I'm saying ignore is the one we want, right? Because that's what I said in two places. One, inside here, where we did ignore, and in the PowerPoint slide deck here, where I said that set the item mesh collision response to all channels function to pass ignore. I say that here as well, right? Are we good? So far? So all I'm doing is mirroring. Guys, why I'm telling you this is this. What we're doing here right now, is it's going to be eerily similar to what you're going to have to do on the final test, all right? Where I'm going to give you instructions and you need to know what to do, right? All right, so item mesh is this, and then the next part, let's go back to this one. It says, call the item mesh attached to component. Now this is attached component to component in the blueprint, right? So if I go to Blueprint, it actually says attach component to component. But in C++, it's actually attached to component. It's just a slightly different thing. So it's not a big deal, but I need to call it from the item mesh. So again, going back to this, I would say item mesh attach to component, and it needs some stuff. Okay, so let's look at the stuff it needs. If I hover over, it says the first thing it needs is a reference to the in-parent thing. That's the need. The second thing it needs is F attachment transform rules. Then I need a socket name. Those are the three things it names. I provide those here. I say that character instigators mesh. That's the first thing that we're going to use. So going back to this, we're going to say character instigator get mesh. That's the first part. The next is the F attachment transform rules. You can actually type this in. F attachment transform rules. You know it's an enum, so if I just do ... it gives you these things, right? And what we want to use is snap to target including scale, this one, okay? Snap to target including scale. And finally, what I want to put in is a text object that is where I'm attaching it to. So if I'm equipping the item and it's a sword, it's going to go to the right-hand socket, right? That's the socket that it's going to go to, right? Let's see if I'm right. Let's see if this is correct. Right-hand socket, snap to target including scale. That's all this stuff. Character item mesh. This is all this. Okay, finally, I'm going to go to the interact radius and destroy the component. Let's see if we can do that here. So interact radius, and then destroy component. That's it. There's your function, my friends. What are your thoughts? We have to test it. That's the thoughts, Tom. Okay, you should say, Tom, nice. You did that very much, Tom. But thank you very much. But we had to test it because, I know you're a little cracked and crazy. Remember, you can't test this until you get out of the editor, save everything, and Control F5. We can't do anything. And then finally, when we bring it in, it'll work properly. So I'm going to just save all here, right? I'm going to go back to the editor. Thank you very much, editor, for this kind and wonderful, guide to what we did. File, save all. And I'm going to kind of kill that, and then I'm going to Control F5 this to get us back into the editor. So I know I went fast, but I wanted to show you that it's not that difficult. And remember, guys, look, we went from a bunch of, like the blueprint was big, and we went to like what, 10 lines of code? Right? So here's where I want you to get to, all right? And I really need this for you guys, all right? Just like we did our midterm test, and it was easy for you, I want you to start thinking about, if I want to go to, I want to transfer from, blueprint to code, can I think that way? Can I think about how do I take those things? Can I translate what I see in blueprints to code? That's the thing that I want you guys to get to, right? Hopefully this will work, because if not, I'll have to do it manually. And I mean that only because I can see it pausing here, and I'm on a school machine, and whenever that happens, I worry, because it's like gonna crap out, and that means I may have to, remove Unreal Engine and put it back, right, to make this all happen again. I'm gonna give it a few minutes here. But one thing to note is that, I'll talk through this while this is doing its business, right? I don't think it's going to complete. I think I'm going to have to stop this thing and remove Unreal Engine and put it back, and then hopefully it'll be normal again. And this is on the school machine only. If I was on my home PC, it'd be done by now. All right, but it is what it is. And this is taking way too long, and I hate when it kind of does this. Because what this does is one thing to check is Control Shift Escape when this kind of things happens, and to see what's going on with with Visual Studio and if it's moving at all. Notice like Visual Studio 2022 is 0% we're talking about, right? So this is a red flag for me. When I see Visual Studio 2022 and I pull up my task manager and it's 0% like CPU and the memory is not moving or changing or nothing, like there's literally nothing going on, and like, you know, disk access is like 0.1. I mean, you know what this means? Nothing's happening, my friends. It's bugged, right? That's what this is. And I can wait for a long, long time, but it doesn't matter. And the other thing that's really interesting is other processes for Unreal Engine also aren't really doing anything here. So if I go back and I look through like anything else down here, this is a good indicator if you're on the school machine, something's bugged up. So what we do, we have to cancel out. But I fear, and here's my big fear, that I may have to reboot as well, right? Hopefully not. Let's see what happens. So first, let's kill Visual Studio 2022, because that's the thing. Because you can't stop it. There's nothing you can do to stop that process, right? And then the cheap and dirty thing to do is try and you know, kind of redo it. So if I go back to this, here's the cheap and dirty thing to try. I'm going to go to ICE9 and then kill intermediate saved binaries and derived data cache, delete those, and then, you know, kind of double click that to regenerate everything. And if it says, you know, kind of start from source, look, it says here, compile, you know, you have to do it manually, start from source, then this is where I have a problem with this. So again, let's get rid of those two. Drive data cache is nothing. Let's just regenerate my files. Try that one more time. So I can generate my Visual Studio project files. There we go. And then after that, I can try doing this, and it's going to tell me the same thing, like build from source. And if it tells me like build from source like this is a good indicator that I'm bugged, my friends, bugged. So kill these again. And then what I'm going to do is, because we have this fine version of stuff going on with my Epic Games, I'm going to stop this. Here it is. Stop this, and let's see if I can restart it, and then maybe that'll be better. I don't know. Stopping and restarting. I've had some success with this sometimes, but it looks like I may have to re-put it in. So let's see. Hopefully I'm not. I really hope it's not true. Give me 1 second, guys. I know this is a terrible thing to happen in the middle of recording, but what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What does it say here? Oh, look at that. Failed to generate project files. Love that error, right? So intermediate saved. And so what this means to me is I'm going to remove this, so stop this, and then actually remove it, which is a terrible thing to do. Like, you know, if at all costs to avoid what I just did. Right? If you're on your school machine. So he's got to devirtualize everything. And then once it's devirtualized, then I kind of come back in and put it back in. This takes some time. Actually, this shouldn't take that much time either. But we'll see what happens here. And I think I'm going to stop the recording here while this is happening. And then I'll come back when we fix our problem.